not an AI. I am a real person. Our AI tech is coming along pretty nicely from the Matchx side of things, but we're not quite that far along yet to be able to, make me an AI. They try, but it's kind of difficult. Second of all, this is my first time using the stage function for anything. It was came recommended by another community member last week, and I was like, heck, let's just try it out and see what's going on with that. I'm gonna go ahead and ping everybody. It's always scary to do this, just to let them know that there is an AMA, and it is in this channel and not in the general talk channel. Every time I ping everybody, I'm always just like, oh my gosh. Okay. All right, there it is. Pinged everybody. All right, so how this works. For the stage, you get to raise your hand, right? So if you want to ask a question, raise your hand. There should be a button to raise your hand. I see in my fun little sidebar a cool list of people who are raising their hands, right? And then I have the opportunity to invite you to speak. Now, with your hand raised, even if I invite you to speak, you still have to confirm the invite before you actually speak. Otherwise, I could literally just turn on somebody else's microphone, and we all know how weird that can get. So we're not going to do that. Yeah. So once you raise your hand, I can invite you to speak. You can ask a question, and we go from there. So yeah, this is, before we get kind of in the AMA side of things, we've had these for the last few weeks now, leading on from the minor health release, and each time we have this AMA, there's fewer people and fewer questions. So keep that in mind. I am looking to begin doing this the first Tuesday of every month. Now, that's not going to be a really big change for most of you, right? Because the first Tuesday of the month for next month is next week. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and get started. Helios, I'm going to go ahead and invite you to speak. Let's try out this new stage.
Unmute. Okay, is it working now?
Working now. This is so cool.
Okay.
Welcome, Helios.
Yeah, so can you prove you're not an AI? Just kidding.
What are the
That's not my
rules?
question.
Well, we could do the iRobot rules, or we could do the,
Right.
The other rules. I forgot what they're called. Anyway,
Right.
What's the question? How can I help?
No. So we had the release for some type of guide to help us with sensors. I bought a sensor that looks almost identical to the one listed on Matchx for the heart monitor on Seed. It's like 3 E's. It looks almost identical. Don't know if it's the same thing or not, but you guys were reporting that you didn't have any, and they were saying it was on back order. So I did order one from them, thinking that maybe it's the exact same tech.
It probably is exact same tech.
Yeah. So how easy is this going to be to kind of set all this up? Is that going to be an issue that I bought it from a different distributor? Or, I don't know how you guys are going to keep track of all that if one way or the other.
There's a number of ways to set up sensors, right? There's the first way, which is the old-fashioned way, where you configure a bunch of stuff in the supernode, and then it works. And the new way is a provisioning way. Now, if you bought the sensor on Seed, it's probably a connected sensor, so it needs to actually still have the LoRa module for it. And for that, I'm not sure if they're in stock. There are dev kits from Matchx, and if those aren't available anymore, there might be a new model at some point. But until then, I actually might get myself a a Raspberry Pi and a LoRa hat so that I can do some demos on how to hook stuff up and stuff like that. That's something I've been thinking about. Just got to find the time to do that. But for those of us that like to tinker, I think it's quite a bit of fun to put together a Raspberry Pi sensor, maybe weather station of some kind. Yeah. So does that answer the question, Helios?
I'm glad it's not like it's something that you guys are aware of. That's good enough right now. So
cool. Well, we are creating a sample software for a sensor module like a LoRa module specific to another company. It's open source, but it's very techy when we get to that level. I don't know if you're an embedded software engineer or not, but
I'm more of the entrepreneurial type of person where I think well, I mean I've been hearing about IoT since geez 10, 15 years ago. IoT was in my purview, but it, nothing was really available yet. So I
yeah,
was happy to see this project out there and a way that us who aren't so techy might be able to get a foot in the door.
awesome.
So I see a big upside to this type of project because there's a way for other people to get in who aren't necessarily directly techie. I mean, I'm not a total luddite, but yeah. So
Yeah, cool. So what I'm doing, I've got to onboard. We have two new employees starting that I need to onboard. After that process, usually takes a little bit of time. I will start working on some tutorials on how to set up or create your own sensors for the provisioning system. The tutorials might use a modification of the Matchx dev board, or they might use a Raspberry Pi because that might be a bit more available for everybody. I just need to get the details straightened out for that. But I do want to make it accessible for everyone to kind of build for the system and test out the system. And so there will be a method coming for that. It just takes a little bit of time for me to put together. But the good news is as we have these new people joining, they're taking on like portions of the stuff that I generally work on, which means have more time to work on these cool tutorials and documentation items for the community here. Excellent. All right, Helios, if that's all, I'm going to go ahead and move you back to the audience.
yeah, that's fine. I would hope that someday we get some reports on how much the network is actually doing when it comes to actually using the token as a utility.
Right, I could just even answer that right now. So I mean, I've answered something similar to this for quite a few AMAs. And I'll just circle into that. Is that we initially looked at going out devices first and like enabling people to use the network and then building the network and trying to get big companies put devices together that focus with our protocol and then, you know, build the network and such. But we had this conversation where device manufacturers and big enterprise companies are saying, well, we don't really want to build for something. I mean, it sounds like cool tech, but we don't really build stuff for a network that doesn't exist yet, right? And so that's been the thing. And so we focus really heavily on getting the model out there that allows the network to exist, which is what's happened with the M2 Pro. Now that that is happening, we're focusing more heavily on enabling the devices to attach to the network, which in turn comes into the transactions. Our plan as of the last time we had a strategy meeting was to leave it as is for some time so that different manufacturers, enterprises, governments can use the network without actually, you know, charging the transaction fee and having the participation model make up for that difference, as it allows us to improve the network and make it more reliable for these enterprise customers and get them sort of a foot in the door, so to speak, as they put more and more devices on the network. And then we'd grandfather them into the model where they're actually paying for the transactions, specifically the downlinks with the MXC token through smart machine bidding once that section of the development process gets completed. So yeah, that's kind of the roadmap on that. Thanks, Helios. I'm going to go ahead and move you back to the audience. And we'll do the next question from Dr. Joking. All right, inviting you to speak, Dr. Joking.
I accept it. I'll accept. All right.
All right. Welcome to the
Yeah,
stage. It's so
yeah.
weird.
Well, first, welcome back, Brock. Brock is back in the house. Look at him. You
Oh, I
riding your
wonder if he's
bike,
riding
Brock?
his bike again.
Yeah.
Huh,
But you said
crazy.
what about this AMA? You're gonna do it like every other week, or what'd you say?
I'm thinking first Tuesday of every month. And you guys can push back on that some just because
Yeah, that's
you
fine. I
figures happen
mean,
more often.
you do it the first Tuesday every month. I'll be here every Tuesday, and then I'll be here, and you guys ask me the questions because I basically know everything and probably a little bit more. So I'll be here If Jeff's not here, I'll be here, and then
Oh, now I'm
you
scared.
guys can ask me. Don't worry, I'll be here every Tuesday. I just want to tell everybody that. So guys, don't get worried
Watch
or
out,
nothing. I'm
Photoshop
gonna be here
wizard.
every Tuesday.
All right. Any more questions, Dr. Joking?
No, that's it.
All right. He's here every Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I'll move you back into the audience. Thanks. This is an interesting model here. Astro, inviting you to speak.
Hey, hi Jeff.
Hey, welcome.
Hey, yeah. Hello, hi everyone. I see a lot of guys from MXC team. Hello everyone. Yeah,
Yeah, they're spying on
great
me.
team. Krill, I see Kirill here. Yeah. Okay. So I saw that I'm on vacation currently. So sorry if I didn't follow and if this question will be already answered. So I saw that you are live with device provisioning, but when I checked from my DataDash app, I couldn't still do anything with the plus button to add a device. So that's not live yet, right?
The developer release is live, which means it functions through the API, but it's not yet built into the mobile application. For the
I
specific
see.
reason that there are currently no devices that actually support the provisioning protocol.
I see.
So we have the developer release ready. That means that different manufacturers are testing it out. We have a lot of manufacturers based in China that build sensors and different things that are currently testing out the provisioning system for their devices because they find it to be quite easy because they have a lot of support that they do for people who buy their devices, and they can get by that by using our provisioning methodology. So that's pretty exciting. And then as more and more devices come onto the market, or as devices come onto the market, we'll be incorporating it more thoroughly into the DataDash app.
Yeah, I see that. And about the downlink, who will get the tokens? Will the miners get the token, or will that split by the foundation and the miners?
The majority of the downlink goes to the miners. There is a fee portion that goes to the supernode operator and the MXV Foundation, and then a portion of it gets burned.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I'll leave now and get the other guys who might have questions. Thanks a lot, and yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay,
all right.
Okay. Bye.
Ciao. All right. Next question is from Wake you Pactuarial. Okay, I'll just invite you to speak here. Welcome. All right, you're on stage. You might be muted, or your microphone might not be hooked up because I'm not seeing the green bar or square around your name there. Okay. Give you a couple more seconds, then I'll have to move you off. You can ask again, try to work on the audio stuff. While we're working on that, this is definitely an interesting thing. I am missing some of the collaborative discussion, but maybe there's a way to pull everybody on stage later. I don't know for that. There we go. You there?
Sorry about that.
No worries.
I am here, yeah. Hey, so I had two questions. The first question is, how do you feel stacking up against helium? And then do you think you have any competitive advantages or disadvantages? So that's kind of like the first question. And then the second question is, can you provide some general statistics in terms of like how the Bitcoin mining has gone?
All right. As for the first question, I mean, IoT is a massive field. So first of all, before we say that one has to beat the other one, I think there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of different companies to work in the field. I think that each, like Helium and ourselves, have our unique advantages. And specifically, we work on the proof of participation model, which allows people to earn regardless of their placement of their miner, in the sense of if I'm in the middle of nowhere and there's no IoT network yet in my area, and there's not a lot of devices in the area, I can still provide a network, and for providing that network, I still receive some token for that, which I personally believe is important because, as I mentioned earlier in the call, the chicken before egg scenario where you have either the network first or the devices first. And if we have the network first, when people go to set up IoT devices in those areas, they're more likely to use the network that already exists, which will be the MXC network. So I think that plays a huge advantage. There's also the advantage of the multi-token mining, as you mentioned, also with the BTC, but there's also been trials with DOT and some other opportunities that we're looking into, and that plays also into a big role that people are able to do more than just one token with it. I mean, there's the DHX already, and then the more additional tokens with that. So I think that kind of covers the first question. As for the second question, statistics and numbers, I don't have those off the top of my head, but I can say the project is going quite well. There were some issues earlier on that some of the testers may have noticed in regards of the distribution of the BTC, and that's going to be ironed out. And there may or may there's probably going to be another test coming up. But we'll keep everybody informed on that. And yeah, I mean, it's ongoing. I hope that answered part of the question there for you.
Yep. Thank you so much, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Perfect. All right. Cheers. I'll go ahead and move to audience. And then we have Gideon here. You've been asking multiple times to speak. I'm going to go ahead and bring you on board. What's up, Gideon?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, sorry, I wasn't quite sure how this worked. This is my first time being with you guys on the live at AMA.
Well, it's also the first time using the stage platform here, so.
Oh, right, yeah, because I remember it was more in the chat before, but
yeah, exactly. It was in the general voice talk.
So I guess it's a question, but it's also kind of a suggestion from a usability point. So one of the things that I noticed is that, you know, before, I know you guys must have a reason for it, and you know, I'm not trying to like question it or anything, but before the miner fuel was coming out, I was very excited because I like the possibility of using the MXC that we mine to do different things in the Data Dash platform. So like, for example, you know, I was planning to take some MXC out that I would mine and then actually put it towards the DHX bonding. And I was just, I guess the question would be, would there be a way that you guys can find a win-win situation where you don't penalize anything from removing MXC within the system, but somehow like, you know, monetize that? Like, for example, take a tiny fee every time we bond it to DHX rather than penalizing the miner fuel.
Well, I don't see changes on that happening anytime soon, and I'll tell you why. First, it's rather complicated. We need to move forward in the timeline so we can actually kind of catch up on some development. But the main reason on that is the fuel itself functions as sort of a halving system, in the sense of if you pull it out, you reduce a little bit, but you still keep mining, right? It's not that it's stopping, and it wasn't intended as a penalize. It was intended to reward you know, users for keeping the fuel in place. But I do understand that there were some desires to move it to different areas of the app, and I do get that. So I don't see it changing right now. I do think it's a good suggestion, and I've heard it over and over again, and I'm not going to just put it aside. I do have it to be brought up over and over again in some product discussions, so it's not that it's completely gone, but I do not see it changing in the foreseeable future. Simply because there's some maintenance that needs to be done, because as many of you know, we've expanded rapidly in the last 3 to 4 months, especially in the last 6 months. We went from, you know, just like massive growth as we entered the US market, especially. And so that, of course, brings to some different stressors, and then we have to fix those. And I want to make sure that before we hit the next round of massive growth, we do a thorough audit of the systems to ensure they can actually manage the growth that we're getting. So that's good. For example, like server stats and things like that.
And then I guess my other question, and it's kind of like it's a wish, but I hope you guys can do it, is do you have any plans to increase the value of the coin? For example, if it goes to 100, you know, I'll have about $1.7 million, so that's great.
I mean, it's all a community effort, right? It's just like any other item like this, and I don't think there's any like plans. We can't really push it more or do things to manipulate the token, right? But there are let's just say, as the project grows, there's gonna be more and more people using it, and especially as we integrate the device payments into the system in the coming times, there's going to be more and more people buying the token. And the demand's going to go up for the token itself, specifically for the transactions on the network. And with that, there come in the other demands. You know, as more and more people see people buying it, then of course the perceived value goes up. And then also in crypto, I don't know. But there's also the perceived value of the token is determined by the community who own the token, right? That's also part of it.
Right. Okay.
I think that in and of itself, there's a lot of potential for the token, and I think that there's a lot of things that can be done with it. I see it being used in the future as a utility, which means more and more people are purchasing it for that purpose, which could potentially increase the value of the token. But yeah, I think the circle back on that is that the perceived value of anything is the people who hold it determine its value.
Well, in that case, I determined that it's going to be at least $1,000 a coin. So,
Hey, do it. Like, spread the word. Let's do it.
thank you so much, Jeff.
Yeah, cheers. I'll go ahead and move you to the audience.
Okay.
All right, Brock, are you on a bike today?
No, currently not on a bike. I'm sitting at home. I have some sort of holiday and changing my job, so I have
Congratulations.
enough in the moment. The answer me anything. Have a wait. Let me sort my English out again. Can you actually hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. No worries.
Okay, perfect. Because my phone is kind of damaged.
Oh, crud.
I'm looking into other projects at the moment, and I found out that I don't know if you know the Deeper Connect or Deeper Nano stuff, the VPN stuff that they're
I'm
currently
not
building.
familiar with it right now, but I can look at it.
Yeah, go look at it. They have a little device. It's basically a Raspberry Pi, which you can put on your ISP, and you have a free VPN and stuff like that. And they are developing something like an attachment, a USB attachment for HNT, and maybe you guys can do that too.
Interesting.
Because it has a USB port, and HNT, I can't imagine that the tech is so what do I want to say? Is so high powered that that wouldn't work over USB. You get what I want to say? If they can do it with HNT, you can do it with MXC, and you could then make a module for the USB port, and I can plug it into my Deeper and have it work like this.
So you're saying a miner that
Maybe
works via USB that you plug into the USB port of another device?
Yes.
And then accesses the network connectivity via USB?
Yes. Maybe you could work with Deeper together and like further the your network and your network, basically.
Okay.
Doesn't
I'll
have
write
to
it
be
down.
HNT. It could
I
be
will
your
write
network.
it down as an idea, and I'll look into it. I know that we have some items planned up on the hardware side right now. Thinking about what I might be able to say on that. I'm not sure, so I'm not going to say anything. So we had to get some hardware stuff lined up. So developing a new hardware device may not be possible for that, but I will definitely look at the potential.
That would be nice. And maybe you can make DHX mining more. You need mPower for DHX mining. mPower gives you a boost for DHX mining, does it?
Well, DHX mining is determined by mPower. So you have the everybody who participates gets mPower, and then basically you look at the daily pot for proof of participation on DHX is 5,000 DHX, and that's split based on your mPower and everybody else's mPower. So the total mPower then divided. So you're end of the day. So basically, if you wanted to figure out how much of that you get, you find the fraction value
of 1/70 of every MX. The mass doesn't matter now. What I want to say is maybe you can make that for the people that cannot afford a 3,000 euro miner. Maybe you can make a stake to mPower thingy. Like I stake MXC on your Datadish up, and I get some mPower, not the full amount, but some mPower, so I can mine more DHX.
Yeah,
Maybe
and I
something
think
like
that's an excellent idea. And what's going to be fun is that as we finish up the governance for DHX, people like yourselves will be able to do referendum and ideas, like put hardware that gets mPower for these purposes, and then it can go through governance to be accepted, and then there could be a development bounty for that, for example. And And I think that's the direction to go. So I think the first step of that is to get the governance done for DHX so that we can actually get these ideas submitted through governance and then voted on by the holders of the token, and then developing like something like that could be possible. I think that's a great idea for DHX.
Yeah, and then in that turn, something like the HIP, no, the helium improvement protocol, where you can actually something like the HIP protocol. You know what I mean? Helium, you can put in stuff, or EIP or Bitcoin improvement protocol, where people can send you requests and we can vote on them. Something like that would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be like Polkadot, and how they do their governance will be very similar to that. And then as for how the hardware itself works on it, I have a number of ideas. Sorry about that. Basically, I want to find a way to pool the resources of the LPWAN hardware to create sort of like a pool, a validation pool that could become like a validator. It's kind of like a dream of mine for DHX, is that we can find different like less expensive hardware type devices that different people can get and then use to validate DHX transactions. And that necessarily doesn't have to be done directly on chain or through governance. People could just build that. And then with that, for each device, if this part would have to go through governance, each device would have its own Empower assigned to it for its participation on the network, in the sense of naturally there's still the 10-1 rule, so people still have to bind the DHX in order to have that Empower working for them. But then by owning that hardware device and using it to participate in the network, they would then get a proof of participation reward as well on top of the validation reward. That's a dream of mine, but I mean, it's going to take the combined community of DHX to get that through, part of that through governance, and also get that built. So it's definitely something on my radar. I have a lot of dreams and goals for DHX, but the first part of that is, of course, to get the governance finished.
And another thing I wanted to say is we desperately need a device where we can actually see that your protocol stuff is working. With other projects, they have little test kits where you can run around with, and then it. Can I see that? Isn't that already there? You have
Hashtag
on your
spoilers.
Again, please.
I said spoiler. I am working on something that would help us in this direction.
Make something like an Apple AirTag. That's what I say.
Yeah, something probably a little bigger than an Apple AirTag, but yeah.
Yeah, okay, you can't do an AirTag. I know that, but something like an AirTag where I can actually show people that this is actually working, and not some hot air product like HNT is at the moment.
No, I completely agree with that, and that's been on my radar for a while. And something like that is going into early stages.
Wasn't there something like on the MXC main site where you can actually purchase a little USB stick type thingy where you can run around?
That was a long time ago. That was a Matchx product from a long time ago. They had a sensor kit that you could do that with, and that's no longer available.
See?
But there's something similar to that new generation, so to speak, that's been in my head and has been being built. So there is this direction. I do see the need to demonstrate the network, and it especially helps when looking to go to additional enterprise customers that may want to use the network to be able to demonstrate things like range, coverage, and things like that specifically. And so my goal would be to have a device that does exactly what you've been saying. And this one isn't just a goal, it's something that's going to be done. And it's going to make it possible to develop like a network coverage heat map for different cities, so that we can say, okay, this is where the coverage is good, this is where it needs some help. And then maybe, I don't know if this is possible, but maybe we could do a bounty in a sense of get a miner in this location to spruce up the network. I don't know. If there's like an enterprise customer that's saying that they don't want to, they want to do it, but this isn't enough in this area, then we could maybe come up with like this kind of back and forth between the community and the enterprise customers. I don't know. Or enterprise, they're not really customers, they're just people using the network. But that's kind of like my thinking on that. So you're going in the right direction there, and it's definitely parallel with my plans.
Yep, that's what I wanted to say.
Perfect. All right then. Great. I'll bring in the next person. Thanks for chatting, Brock.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Next up, we have Dr. Joking again. Welcome back to the stage.
Oh yeah, this was like
So-
perfect. Brock, like, he was talking about all these new sensors and everything, and I had a new idea for a new LoRa sensor. It's like, if someone, I don't know how to make these sensors, so maybe someone in this chat or in this community knows how to make it. But you like put a sensor, it's like for your toilets, and then like it measures your toilet's water level. Then after you're done going pee, it'll measure water level again, so you know how much like you peed out and like your hydration level, like for athletes. Anyone know how to make
Yeah,
that?
I mean, anything's possible. It goes into the manufacturers and what they want to do with that, with the network. I mean, looking at volume's one thing, but weight is an easy measure of volume. So you could just measure weight for that. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunities with different sensors. Like one of the ideas that I have, just because I keep getting rained on every time I ride my bike, but is like balcony sensors that actually detects actual rainfall and not just the heat maps or rain maps or cloud coverage maps that we have from satellites. I think that'd be kind of cool. On every balcony in the city, watch out, it's raining here and it's moving this quickly towards you. Pedal faster. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, but the toilet sensor's
Anyway.
better than that. Come on.
Maybe. All right. Thank you, Dr. Joking. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next person. We're running through time so quickly today. Also, Code, I'm inviting you to the stage. Sup? What up? You're muted, by the way. There
Hear
you
me?
go. Yep, we can hear you now.
Hi. Yeah, I'm also. Oh, I have my boy with me. Doesn't allow me to talk even in peace.
It's okay.
Sorry. Oh, in Finland, it's like that. I have idea actually about minor health lately. I think everyone have been having heart attack of the minor health. So how to develop that? I have some idea about it. Might be help you out to make those people come back alive. So I was thinking that what if the MXC from the miner, when you are transferring that, like let's say when you send that you want to mine DHX, when you send it from the miner to the DHX to mine, how to say it right? I forget the Finnish language. So when you have MXC in your mining, when you transfer that to the DHX, it will not affect your mining. Only when you withdraw it to your exchange, or if you want to sell it, then it might affect your miner health. Do you think it might be more helpful? Will motivate people kind of like to have more M2 Pro devices, you know?
Well, I think it's definitely been a suggestion that's come up a few times. I think it actually, I kind of addressed it a little bit earlier in this call as well, is I don't foresee an immediate change happening to minor health. I mean, I'm continuing to write down suggestions and we'll continue to discuss them on the product team. But right now we're focusing on some of the new stuff that will enable people, like, for example, to measure the reliability of the network so that the network can then grow and be used more. So with that, I believe there are multiple opportunities within the app, and there are going to be more opportunities with the app in order to diversify the rewards from the miner. And if you decide to move from health, I mean, it's like the way I see it psychologically, to make it a little less painful, I guess, is that it's basically a self-decided halving, right? So a lot of mining goes through different halvings, and that kind of just like forces everybody to go down. And instead of forcing everybody to go down, miner health really allows you to decide, okay, I would rather it have now, and then I'd rather, spend my additional fuel I have in a different diversified type of opportunities. So I think that's go for it.
Yeah, well, now is the picture more clear to me. I had a question about the camera. You guys was publishing some video about it, that it could measure the temperature. So here in Finland, we have the forest. So, for example, I wanted to ask, is like, let's say the fire before when it's starting, the temperature will get some warning and will send that to the fire department, or how that part it works?
Yeah, I mean, AI
Like,
camera functions in a way where if it sees something, it's able to report it. And so if it sees flames or smoke or things like that, it can report it. And then there's also infrared, which allows you to see heat, which then allows you to report it as well. So there's different ways that that specific camera works. I'm not personally on that project, so
Okay.
I don't know as much about it specifically, but I do know that it is, I think, a step in the right direction, especially if the price point per camera can be reasonable, so they can be purchased in bulk and then
yeah.
distributed in national forests.
Yeah, well, I was talking with my uncle. He's a fireman in fire departments. Where there was interesting of this idea. They said that will help out them a lot here, especially in the because there's much forest in the building, so that's why they require something like this. This will be more useful to us to have
Yeah,
something like that
definitely.
here. Yeah, great idea.
If they have the right people to reach out, I mean, we can work on a pilot project with that.
Yeah, that will be great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Definitely. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and move you back to the audience. We have Brock. Welcome back to the stage. This is fun. All right, Brock. I went ahead and invited you. Got to accept the invite back. I imagine he got up for a drink of water and he's running back to the computer real quick.
No,
There he
I
is.
was outside in the rain because Germany is like drowning today.
It's all
Again.
sunny in Berlin right now.
Yeah, you are lucky, but because in NRW it's kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
raining all day, and you must have heard about
Oh, yeah.
the flooding catastrophe and stuff like that, huh?
Oh, yeah. I've heard about it. I've kept a very close eye on it.
Yeah. And there's a next idea that you can maybe invent a warning system because Germany is too slow for that.
Yeah. That is actually something that I was thinking of a couple of
With
years
the
ago,
LoRa
was a
stuff,
flood warning system.
not only a flood warning system, just a general warning system. I know there are some apps that do that, but they're far and few in between. And maybe with all the LoRa stuff, when the network is once operational, we can actually push messages over that, because that
Yeah.
would be an ideal scenario for any LoRa thing. And maybe you can collaborate on this with Helium and all the other guys, because that would be something very good.
Yeah, and I think that this is definitely an opportunity with this network, and that is the goal of the network, is to provide these opportunities. Whether or not we can work on all the opportunities ourselves, I mean, that would be marvelous, but stretches quite thin. But making it possible for the network to be used in this way is our goal.
Yes, and that would be nice. And the next thing I have is I'm constantly trying out new stuff. Deeper is one of them. It's basically a VPN on crypto. But I just downloaded an app that has the name Nodal Cash. You don't know that by any chance?
No, I don't.
I guess it is some sort of scam, but I'm trying it out, and it tells me that it would do the same as your network and the Helium network and all the other competitors, but with Bluetooth low energy.
No, that would be very difficult to do. Bluetooth, you'd have to have something like every single 5 feet.
But remember, Apple is doing it and it works. I have some Apple AirTags here and they work.
Yeah, because okay.
I use the iPhone of anyone to do that without the permission of anyone to do that.
That's what there's that too. Right.
I'm trying out new stuff, and I see the AirTags, and I was like driving around with them they are registered to my other phone, and I left the phone at home, and I can still see where I went and stuff with the AirTag. And there were like, maybe you can implement something that AT&T does it too, because they are going for 5G now. I'm not saying you should go for 5G, but maybe because of the miner is mostly indoors, maybe you can actually enable Bluetooth on the thing.
I mean, I actually don't remember if Bluetooth's actually on the miner or not, but I mean, it's an idea. We can look at leveraging Bluetooth as well. I think our main focus has been the LP WAN tech, but
Why not?
Ideas are ideas, and they all should be thought through and evaluated.
Because if you have Bluetooth, you could probably push more data through it.
Yeah.
Because LoRa isn't for big data. You can't run a camera
No,
over
it's
LoRa.
not. Bluetooth would do
Maybe
higher
a picture
bandwidth.
once in a while, but not data, like huge gigabytes of files.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing. I mean we're kind of focusing on the edge stuff at the moment, and I've written down the Bluetooth idea, and I'll talk with the product team and our idea people, and we have idea
Because
people now.
I see it this way. There's huge competition in the outside world for this stuff, for LoRa and stuff, but in the inside of buildings and closed structures, there's most nothing.
There's a lot of
VLAN.
there's actually quite a few building infrastructure type projects that use LoRa,
Okay.
and I met with
Probably,
some of
yeah,
them.
I know.
in
MediaMarkt does that for.
Yeah, and like in
MediaMarkt
China,
does it
they
for
have like building structural sensors that use LoRa, like detecting whether or not the structure of the building is still stable after an earthquake. So they put different LoRa sensors on different key supports within a building, like a skyscraper, in order for them to measure this stuff and know if something's happened during an earthquake or not. Like there's things like this for building management as well. It's not a LoRa project, but we could probably get them to be a LoRa project. Ha ha ha. They use SIM cards right now, but they also do like building meters and things like that, where they manage the different buildings, things like fluid or electricity that goes to the building.
Everything inside a building can be powered, but for low power stuff, you don't have anything because Wi-Fi you can't power from a point Z.
Yeah,
You can, but not for long.
Yeah, and being able to use LoRa for that, you can put these sensors in place and replace them once every 8 to 10 years.
Maybe you can make a proof of concept messenger with your technology, and we can all chat over that.
Messenger with LoRa. Now that is theoretically, very much theoretically possible. I'll write that down. That could be fun.
Make a messenger, and everyone that has data dash can send each other messages. If
that
they know
would be
them.
that could be
if
a lot of fun.
The number of
but the data dash itself would not be able to access LoRa because the phone that it's on does not have LoRa. So it would have to be an additional client.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to invite the next person. We're running short on time. Thanks, Brock. All right, Informal Crypto, you're being invited to the stage. Informal Crypto just left. Let's give it a second. Okay, Informal Crypto's back. I'm going to invite you again, Informal Crypto. Informal Crypto, welcome to the stage.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
Hey, sorry. It's new. There's an app update, I think, to Discord. I'm not used to this. So I joined a little late, so my apologies if these questions have already been asked. But do we happen to have a timeline in place for the other aspects of miner health at this time to go live?
I've decided to delay those for the time being. I don't have a specific time for their release.
Okay. And then, yeah, I think I had another question, but these technical difficulties in my Discord completely threw off my train of thought. I'll check back in if they come back. Thank you.
Yep, no worries. Gonna go ahead and move you back to the audience and up with Sal. Welcome to the stage.
Yes, howdy.
Doing well yourself?
Doing fine as well, thank you. Basically, I have a question. I recently installed first miners in my city. Actually, there's only one miner in my whole country. And surprise, yeah. And so for my pleasant surprise, I already am receiving some data packets. And was wondering, are these data packets related with Matchx protocol with MXC, or my miners could also retrieve some sort of different signals that are being sent by completely different LoRa sensors and that are not associated with MXC in any case?
They're not associated with MXC in any case. Basically, the way LoRa works is the sensor is broadcast everywhere. And then the miner or gateway relays the message to the server, and the server decides identifies whether or not it has the key for that message. Right. If it doesn't, then it doesn't, the message just doesn't do anything because they don't have encryption keys in order to decrypt it. So that's how that works. So those aren't specific to the MXC network, but it's good that you have traffic in the area because that could become useful in the future. But those are not specific to our network.
Is there
Any more
any
questions?
Yeah, so is there any way how I can actually determine which specific packet is being sent and received by my miner actually is related with MXC? So if you're saying that the miner could actually see any lot of traffic and report it back to me via app, then is there a way how I can say, or at least understand, like, hey, at least these 80 messages are being sent like somewhere randomly to different base stations, and these particular 10 remaining data packets are actually associated with MXC?
Not yet on that. Because like I said earlier in the AMA is that we focus really heavily on getting the network built so that we can now have the device manufacturers and companies working with devices to build onto the network. So now that we have the network built and it's quite widespread, we're now approaching these manufacturers again in order to get the devices put onto it. So with device provisioning that just released, there's going to be some lead time before you're going to see actual MX protocol enabled devices sending data in your area, probably. Maybe it goes very quickly. But there's usually, because some lead time, because they've got to test the protocol, they give us feedback on the tests, we update the protocol, then they take the protocol and integrate it into their manufacturing process, and then you have devices that can work on the network. And then at that point, you need to get enterprise customers to purchase the devices that can work on the network. So there is a little bit of lead time, but during that period of time, there is the proof of participation model with the base earnings for the miner to keep everybody, earning.
Oh, okay, then it's quite confusing for me, because in the map I actually can see these couple of gray dots that could represent either the regular base stations or some sort of a sensor. So I figured that maybe these were the ones that are actually associated with MXC.
No, those are just the LP1 gateways that are not specific M2 Pros, right? So these M2 Pro miners, then there's just LP1 gateways that were previously worked with from Matchx and others, and that's what the gray dots represent.
Oh, only base stations, not sensors. Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Yep, no worries. Thanks, Al. All right, Colored Pimp. Cool. Inviting you to the stage.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Very nice.
Quick question. All I really wanted to know is, when is the BTC and the Polkadot? Do you have any time frame when you're going to roll that out? I know somebody probably already asked that.
Well, BTC is going through the second round of testing now, and we'll probably have some updates to the system and then go through another round of testing before it goes out to the entire MT Pro community. I don't remember, but I think there was some speculation that could happen end of year or beginning of next year. But again, I don't quote me on that because I need to double check my data. So there's that for BTC. For Polkadot, there's some more work to be done on that system. We haven't even entered the testing phase on that one yet, but it is in progress. So we'll be moving in that direction.
And one more question. Is there an easier way to get the data highway token? Because I've been running into problems. Like, it's only on 2 exchange, and they're not American friendly.
Yeah, I am not in the States right now, so I don't know much about that, but I know there's a lot of community members here who have worked with the DHX token who are in the States. So for those of you that are here and have gotten DHX in the States, can you guys send some messages in general and help out Colored Pimp here to figure out where to get his DHX?
That'll work. I appreciate you.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
man.
sir.
Yep. Bye. All right. Informal Crypto, welcome back.
Hey there. So I was reading the developer docs that you posted not too long ago, and I was intrigued when I saw the section that talked about a proposed alternative to altitude measurements. I was hoping you might be able to speak a bit about that proposed alternative because it's difficult to measure.
Did I do it? I got to look at my developer docs to see what I wrote. That was in health, right? Minor health.
It basically says proposed.
Oh, I just said we're
alternative.
looking at something. That was exactly
Yeah.
what I talked with Brock about, actually, with the
Oh,
potential
this
to
is-
measure, to have a device that measures and tests the network.
Gotcha.
So that would be just an additional accessory and sense that people would carry around with them that would measure their network, which would then be
Understood.
able to determine signal strength from anywhere in the city, and a lot of minor health could be based on that. So that's kind of that one.
Understood. Thank you.
Yep, no worries. Thank you. Anything else?
That's all I got for now. Thank you.
Alrighty. Then let's go over to Crypto Providence. By the way, guys, the more times you push that button, you go to the bottom of the queue, so stop pushing the join the stage button. Crypto Providence, I've invited you to the stage. You got to accept the invite in order to talk. I'll give you a second to figure that out. It's a new feature in Discord. Stages here.
Yeah, it's all good.
What's
I
up?
figured it out. All right, so okay. So I have another important question again, like I did last time. Are we going to be getting dark mode anytime soon on the application?
Well, if you're a beta tester, you've already got it.
Oh, how'd you get that? I didn't get told any of this.
Beta tests. Join the beta group. I will once again send the
Oh, maybe it's me. Like, where is this?
I'm one second. I'm gonna copy message link, paste it in general. Boom. Click that link, follow the instructions there, and
Perfect.
you'll be
I got it.
invited to the beta.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep. And as for the actual release question, I think I said it in the news actually. I do expect it to come out this week publicly stable. So cool. All right. I'll go ahead and bring the next person to the
thanks,
stage.
bro.
Yep, no worries, man. Let me open up my show requests. It's Brock. Welcome back, Brock. You're muted, by the way, just FYI.
I'm muted again. Okay, now you should hear me.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. On the device what I talked about, maybe you can actually make an MXC protocol enabled device and put it in each package, so that you can more show off what the network can do. Like I would gladly carry one of them around. I'm carrying an AirTag. I'm carrying what's it called, a tile thingy with me. I'm trying things out, and when I go around in cities and co, where you believe you have miners, you can actually start testing it. And
Yeah,
maybe
that's
as a
the-
bonus incentive, give the people that carry the device around like 1 mPower a day or something like that, so that they can actually go into your system, use that mPower for DHX mining, and then start thinking about buying one of the miners. Because what I see is that with the price of the miner, you will have a hard time, especially in Germany, to get people to host the miner. And you have to get them into your system first to start hosting a miner.
Yeah.
Maybe I should clarify that. Because nobody's looking at miner health when they look first at your miner. They look at how much can I make per day, and they look at what opportunities do I have. And then when they purchase it and they find out about the miner health stuff, they change their mind and go away and wait forever for a helium mine. Maybe you can incentivize people to actually start looking into your product. Because I think
so
okay,
on that,
your product is
on
good.
that, I mean, there are maybe some people that follow that description, but there are not many. Things are doing well in that sense. So maybe some people do that, and maybe growth has been slowed down a little bit because of miner health. But miner health is a key element to the whole ecosystem. So like things are doing well even with miner health. So if not everybody's going away, the network is still growing. But with the range or this device that we've been discussing, I don't know exactly how it will be marketed yet. It's very early, right? We're talking about something that has yet to go through, that still has to be prototyped, right? So with that, it is in progress, but it is quite early.
I have to go for a bit. I get a call. Right.
All right. Later, Brock. Okay, Dr. Joking, welcome back.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I see you guys are working with all these like smart cities now, and we're putting these M2 Pros up everywhere. And are we building our own prison? We don't have these sensors tracking everything we do all our life? I mean,
no.
Huh?
No. Okay, so
how much
IoT
time
sensors
we
like
use
this.
the toilet to measure and everything? It's like these smart cities. I don't know if they're a good thing because where's the freedom at? You know?
Well, the edge sensors that we work with LoRa are limited in their ability to measure things, and they can't really do things at this time and age, maybe in 10 years, but they can't really do things to identify the individual, right? So it's measuring data like statistical data, not necessarily statistical data to a specific person unless you're carrying it around with you.
Yeah, but what about these smart
and
cities?
even then,
these
you
smart
have to
cities are
opt
trying
in.
to track everything, right? Trying to track these smart cities.
Well, they're tracking things like, how full is a trash can, how many people are in this area so that we can decide how to improve the ecosystem. Are there more cyclists than drivers? Do we need better cycle lanes?
Yeah, maybe publicly
yeah.
they're doing that, but what are they doing like underneath the scenes?
Well, I mean, that's all they can do, right? If they're using a LoRa network, they can't, like, if they're doing like cameras and AI cameras, even AI cameras on LoRa are not able to identify the specific person, at least not yet. All they're able to do is send numerical data. And that's it. So is this happening? Yes, no. How many people are entering a train? Not who are the people.
I just wanted to ask that question. Everyone think to themselves, are we building our own prison? All right, that's it.
All right, later, Dr. Jerkin. Okay, Astro, we're coming up to the end. There's 2 more people here. We'll talk to each of those, and then yeah. So next person on the stage is Astro. Welcome back.
Jeff, just about MXC Mapper. Are you guys thinking about getting more details into the MXC Mapper, like the new M2 Pros added? We see the number is increasing, but then we don't see actually which area is having miners, and then like adding, for example, uptime of the miners on the map, and also maybe in the future we allowing us to see that how many frames, or like just the percentage of the frames that one area it's receiving. So we see that that area it's mostly having a lot of sensors, and the other area not so much. So these kind of details in the map.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity for the mapper. It's not on my top of my priority list at the moment. But as we come out with the new devices that measure the things we've been discussing, like range of a miner and reliability of a miner and things like that, then these statistics could be added to the mapper. So I do see that as a potential, and I do see it's necessary. I just need to get some other pieces in place before I can make that a reality.
Yeah, maybe it might be interesting for the guys who really wants to invest in sensors, like big companies, or like just want to see how the area is covered or something like that. So
exactly, because they're also looking at SLAs, right? They're very interested in having guaranteed uptime of a specific amount, which is difficult to guarantee in a publicly owned network like this. So to do that, there has to be enough redundancy built in so that if somebody turns off their miner, somebody else's miner takes over. And with enough redundancy like this, then the SLAs could be very good. Anyway, so that's kind of the right direction. You're thinking in the right direction. That is something that we're looking at. We've just got to get some other pieces in play before we are able to do that.
Yeah, and last thing, if anybody here in the group is that it doesn't have miner M2 Pro so far, I just have something for them that it's. Since I plugged in, I didn't have to do anything on the miner. So it's just working like a charm. So it's nothing to do. Awesome. Just a couple of seconds to set it up, and then it's just working by itself. So I just...
Our tech support loves to hear that. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay,
all right.
That's from my side. And thanks.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yep, thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay. Bye.
All right, Henry, you're up.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Henry, how's it going?
Good, very good. I have a question. Is the M2 Pro affected when there are other LoRa gateways in the vicinity?
And what do you mean by affected?
Well, because in the EU frequency we only have 8 channels. You guys already have 2 radios inside. The reason I'm asking is because I'm doing this. This is my work, LoRaWAN. And while working from home, I realized when setting up your gateways last week that I already have a couple of gateways running here for projects I'm doing as well. So I was just wondering, will it affect in the future having multiple other gateways running other projects in the vicinity?
I mean, the overall thing, it works like a walkie-talkie, right? There's a limited number of channels, and just like Wi-Fi has, let's say Wi-Fi has 56 channels, I think, if it hasn't changed recently. And there's a logic behind Wi-Fi that coordinates transmissions to make sure that things don't overlap too much. But as everybody notices,
I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything? Can anybody else hear me? Yeah? Okay, so Henry just can't hear me. Okay, I'll continue my answer, and hopefully Henry hears some of that. But with that, so there's always the opportunity for data collision, and we've talked a lot about it, especially in our early years at MXC, is this anti-collision coordinator that's able to coordinate transmissions on the network to ensure that collision does not happen. And so there's a prioritization layer inside the protocol that makes it possible to coordinate these transactions. It's taking time to build. It's not quite there and we're quite ready yet, but it is something that's planned. Of course, it would work on MX protocol enabled devices. So if there's other devices that aren't MX protocol enabled, then they don't benefit from the collision coordinator. But those that are definitely will. All right, I've got one more person to bring to the stage. Thanks for your question, Henry. I hope you got some of that answer.
Yeah, thanks.
Perfect. All right, later. Okay, Gideon, you're our last person today.
Okay, hey, how's it going, Jeff? Yeah, so one of the questions that was asked is, and one thing I was wondering, so if I open up my Data Dash app right now, so I have the miner and the M2 Pro, and I originally got 3, but I returned 2 just because it was a little bit too much risk for now. But I'm believing in you guys with the 1. But so I have about $413 of USD mined so far since I've had it. And when I click on my miner tab, it shows me that I have 17,218 MXC. But I wonder why, like, for example, when I look at my wallet, the MXC balance it shows 0. So is there any penalties for moving it into my wallet?
Yeah, that's the fuel versus wallet option, right? You want to keep that in fuel if you want to mine it 100%. I am looking at an update that will allow you to more easily see the token that's in fuel as part of your wallet.
Cool. Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, it's just a little thing, but it kind of gives me a peace of mind knowing that it's in a wallet, and because I currently have 100% health score, and I don't want to ruin that.
Yeah, so you don't want to move it, but we could look at doing a summary element that allows you to see fuel from the wallet screen. We'll send it to the UX team and they'll analyze.
Sorry about that. My kids are freaking out.
Hey, no worries. Those of us with kids, we all understand. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So that was pretty much it. And then I think I said it in the suggestion before, but it would be cool also. And I don't know if you guys already implemented that, but if you could see like statistics for for example, I've been mining for about a month now, and it would be cool if there was a way to see those statistics, like how much you've made in a month, what's the average when MXC is going up or down, rather than having to look at a different website to determine that.
Well, you do have revenue statistical data per miner if you tap into the miner and go to revenue. I don't know if it's exactly what you're looking for, but there are some.
It says July 21st through the 27th.
You scroll to the side.
Oh, month and year. Okay, here. Yeah, here we go. Cool.
And then if you
Okay,
scroll
so
to
it
the
tells me.
side, like you'll get more and more and more and more until it stops.
Oh, sweet. So you guys did add it. Okay, cool.
Yeah. No worries. No worries.
Right.
Some things aren't always crystal clear when you first look at it, so requires some tutorials
Oh,
perhaps.
and then just one last question. So I'm pretty new to the crypto space. I've only been doing it for about like 3 or 4 months now.
Oh, welcome.
And yeah, thank you. So one of the things I've heard this term a lot. I don't really know what it means, but I know that it's supposed to be beneficial for people that are, invested into something. But do you guys do like that drop shipping thing? Like some sort of like drop where they give you like extra coins? Like, are you guys doing that, or do you have any plans to do that?
I mean, we used to do that in the early stages of the company to get more people involved, but right now I think we're not interested in airdrops.
Airdrops, that's what it was.
Yeah, we're not interested in it
Okay.
because it easily provides token to people who all they're going to do with it is, sell it quickly. And it has very little buy-in, and it's kind of like just giving away free money to people, in that sense. So it's not something we're terribly interested in. Instead of airdrops, we do have like merch drops and different things like that where we get people involved on a different level than just handing out MXC.
Now, another thing that's interesting, and I don't know if it's a glitch with the app, it's just one thing I wanted to add. So, I'm looking at my miner and I see the green light, so I know that it's working. But on the miner button, it's saying offline for some reason.
Yeah, if you pull down on the screen, usually that changes. There is a issue with that's being fixed actually today. We analyzed it today. We figured out the problem, determined the solution. Now it's in development. It'll go through QA, and maybe we'll have a hot fix come out towards the end of next week that'll include that fix.
Okay, awesome. That was it. I just wanted to get into the nitty-gritty of the app a little bit more. And yeah, I really hope that you guys knock it out of the park, man. I want to regret returning those 2 miners. So.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you will,
I hope so. I hope so, really. But thank you so much, Jeff. I appreciate it.
Definitely. All right, later, Gideon.
All right, bye.
All right, that's been the AMA today. I did disable the ability to come to the stage because I've got to go home and pedal, and Brock knows what it's like to pedal. He's not here anymore. Oh, he is. He knows what it's like to pedal, and especially when there's a lot of other people pedaling at the same time. Anyway, so I'm going to head home. Thank you guys for the AMA. Love doing these. As I mentioned, we're going to start doing it the first Tuesday of every month. Of course, that also means next week, I think, is the first Tuesday of next month. So we'll have another one. In the meantime, if you do have questions, you can always check out the help channel. A lot of the community members here have been here for a long time, and they know a lot of information. I can share that as well. We also have our tech support, Latifa, who keeps an eye there, but also answers your tickets. So if you have Matchx specific tickets specific to the M2 Pro, you can write to support@matchx.io. If it's more towards MXC Data Dash, you can write to support@mxe.org. Of course, there is some cross communication, so don't worry about that too much if you write to the wrong one. Yeah, that's that. I don't think I have any other announcements at this time. So thanks, guys, and I will chat with y'all, well, probably next week. In the meantime, if you guys want to keep talking amongst yourself like you used to, just jump into that general talk channel. All right, later. Bye.